Hey, hockey fans, welcome to Goal Line Hockey. As we're going to continue the playoff preview series, taking a look at the St. Louis Blues and the Dallas Stars for the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe. Alright, so nobody expected this. In the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Dallas Stars knocking out the Central Division champs, the Nashville Predators. In 6 games, John Klingberg with the game-winning goal in overtime. Shocking series finish there. And then the St. Louis Blues knocking off the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games as well. Late goal there at the end of the game with like 15 seconds left in the game. So crazy finishes with both these series in the first round. And now heading into the second round, not really... nobody was really expecting these two to be meeting up here in the second round. But taking a look at the forwards and the defense and the goaltending and the season series, we'll try and predict a winner of this series. So to start things off, forwards, St. Louis Blues, I give them the edge over the Dallas Stars. We know the Dallas Stars have their top line of Radulov, Benn, and Sagan. And anything after that kind of gets a little bit sparse in terms of scoring. And, Spezza, Fox, Rupe Hens, Blake Como, we've seen Jason Dickinson play a little bit, now injured in the first round, so we'll see how long he's going to be out. But Dallas definitely concerns me a little bit with their lack of scoring, and I just don't know how I feel about those pieces in the bottom 6 for the Dallas Stars. On the other hand, St. Louis, Ryan O'Reilly, Tarasenko, Jaden Schwartz, Braden Shen. You go down the list, they've got some really great players there in St. Louis in terms of their forward core. Really deep group, and it's going to be a test for the Dallas Stars, bottom 9 really. I don't know how much I trust the Dallas Stars forwards anything other than the first line. So it's going to be interesting in terms of the forwards, but definitely the edge goes to the St. Louis Blues. And then taking a look at the defense, I also give the edge to St. Louis Blues. They've got way too many good defensemen that'll really try and grind you down and take you out in this series. And led by Pietrangelo, Dunn, Edmondson, Parayko, Jay Bouwmeester. Really, really some great defensemen there in St. Louis. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a test. And we'll just have to see what happens. Unfortunately for the Dallas Stars, I don't have them with the defense. Their defense is spotty, led by Klingberg and the young, up-and-coming Miro Heiskanen. Really great defenseman there. But anything after that, I'm a little bit more on the fence. Mark Mathod, it's a little bit spotty with the Dallas Stars in terms of their depth on the back end, and that's why I give the edge to St. Louis Blues. It just seems it's a safer bet. Now looking at goaltending, and this was interesting because you have Dallas, who has Ben Bishop, who led all the stats categories during the regular season, and then Jordan Binnington, who is probably going to be argued to at least be nominated for the Calder Trophy at the end of this season based off of what he did, bringing basically the St. Louis Blues from 31st in the NHL to making the Stanley Cup playoffs and now advancing to the second round. I give the edge to the Dallas Stars, and the reason I say this is because we know what Ben Bishop can do. He led the Tampa Bay Lightning for a few years to some conference finals and the Stanley Cup final. We got injured during that time, but we know the pedigree a little bit from Ben Bishop, and Jordan Binnington was a little bit spotty in that first round, to be completely honest. He played some really great hockey. He was able to outduel Connor Hellebuck, but there's still some question marks with Jordan Binnington in the playoffs. We don't know how far he can go with this team. Ben Bishop, we know what he's done in the past. Obviously, with a different team in the Tampa Bay Lightning, we know how good they have been over the past really decade now. And we'll see what happens, but I got to give the edge to the Dallas Stars. It's very close, but because of the pedigree, I give it to the Dallas Stars and Ben Bishop. Now, taking a look at the season series between these two teams, and it may surprise some of you, Dallas won the season series 3-1. Dallas winning the first game 3-1. St. Louis winning their one game 3-1 as well. Dallas winning 5-2, and Dallas winning 4-1. So, just looking at that real quick, I mean Dallas. You could take it for whatever you want. Maybe that first game, St. Louis was struggling. I don't know how late into the season these two teams met. They might have been done by January, and by that point, St. Louis was really struggling and looking to trade everybody. Anything after January is really where you want to look at a measuring stick for the St. Louis Blues. And that leads us into the predictions. So, my prediction is the St. Louis Blues win this series in 6 games. St. Louis will win this series because of what they were able to do against the Winnipeg Jets, a really hostile environment there in Winnipeg, the whiteout, all of that. They were able to win some games in Winnipeg, and that proved to be a difference in the series. They were able to win that in 6, get a little bit more rest. Obviously, Dallas has the same edge. It's not much of an edge because both teams won their series respectively in 6 games, but I do have the Blues winning 1 or 2 in Dallas, and that's really going to take things out for the Dallas Stars. I just don't know. I think the reason this series could go to 7 and be interesting is how well can Ben Bishop play, and can Ben Bishop stay healthy? That's really going to be important for the Dallas Stars. Bishop has to be able to stay healthy. They need him really. They really need him here. Anton Hudobin is a great goaltender, but I don't know how I feel against him against Binnington. That changes things completely in terms of my feeling. And St. Louis already has the forwards and defensive advantage, in my opinion. So if they had goaltending too, that could really, really dictate the series. And this could be a really quick series. But I do have it going to 6, and I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative with my picks based off of what happened in the first round. So, and the other question I have toward the Dallas Stars is, is the depth going to be able to step up in terms of their forwards? We know the defense might have to be a little bit more held back. Dallas does play a little bit more of a run and gun game, and is that going to bite them? At the end of this series, they need that. They need that depth scoring. Jason Spezza, Blake Como, Martin Hansel. Where are those guys? They need to be in the lineup. They need to be playing. They need to get some. They need to support that top line because Dallas's top line is really one of the best in the NHL. You need to be able to support that. This reminds me so much of the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado showed us that they can put the puck in the back of the net with their bottom 6. Not so much with the Dallas Stars, so we'll see. Dallas really needs to step up here. This could be huge for the Dallas Stars as a team that's always been mediocre, winning around or getting a wild card spot and flailing out in the first round. So we'll see what happens. St. Louis, we've been waiting for that long run with the St. Louis Blues, and now that Chicago, one of their big dragons, they slayed them a couple years ago. Now Chicago's in a rebuild, so the psyche's a little bit different in St. Louis. They've been able to beat teams like Minnesota, Anaheim, things like that. This is their chance for the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues need to prove something this year, and there's a little bit more pressure on the St. Louis Blues than the Dallas Stars, I think. But it's going to be a great series, and I cannot wait to see how this goes. We'll see how wrong I am, right? Thank you for watching us here at Goal Line Hockey. Staying tuned. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe. And I'll talk to you again later.